Michael here, looking at Psalms 102 for a devotion today. A psalm that might be titled, The Prayer of the Afflicted when he is overwhelmed, and poureth out his complaint before the Lord. And might be subtitled, Do not hide your face from me. And we're looking at verse 3 to 5 for the exposition. Let's go ahead and read the first 5 verses of this psalm. Verse 1. Hear my prayer, O Lord, and let my cry come unto thee. Hide not thy face from me in the day when I am in trouble. Incline thy ear unto me in the day when I call, answer me speedily. And verse 3. For my days are consumed like smoke, and my bones are burned as an hearth. Verse 4. My heart is smitten and withered like grass, so that I forget to eat my bread. And verse 5. By reason of the voice of my groaning, my bones cleave to my skin. And as we turn to the treasure of David for the exposition, let's go ahead and read verse 3 again. For my days are consumed like smoke, and my bones are burned as an hearth. And Spurgeon exposits. For my days are consumed like smoke. My grief has made life unsubstantial to me. I seem to be but a puff of vapor, which has nothing in it, and is soon dissipated. The metaphor is very admirably chosen, for to the unhappy life seems not merely to be frail, but to be surrounded by so much that is darkening, defiling, blinding, and depressing, that sitting down in despair, they compare themselves to men wandering in a dense fog, and themselves so dried up thereby that they are little better than pillars of smoke. When our days have neither light of joy nor fire of energy in them, but become as smoke in flax, which dies out ignobly in darkness, then have we cause enough to appeal to the Lord, that he would not utterly quench us. And my bones are burned as an hearth. He became as dry as a hearth, on which a wood fire was burned out, or as spent ashes in which scarcely a trace of fire can be found. His soul was ready to be blown away as smoke, and his body seemed likely to remain as a bare hearth when the last comforting ember is quenched. How often has our piety appeared to us to be in this condition? We have had to question its reality, and fear that it never was anything more than a smoke. We have had the most convincing evidence of its weakness, for we could not derive even the smallest comfort from it, any more than a chilled traveler can derive from the cold hearth on which a fire had been burned long ago. Soul trouble experienced in our own heart will help us to interpret the language here employed, and church troubles may help us also, if unhappily we have been called to endure them. The psalmist was moved to grief by a view of national calamities, and these so wrought upon his patriotic soul that he was wasted with anxiety. His spirits were dried up, and his very life was ready to expire. There is hope for any country which owns such a son. No nation can die while true hearts are ready to die for it. And verse 4 that reads, My heart is smitten and withered like grass, so that I forget to eat my bread. Spurgeon exposits. My heart is smitten, like a plant parched by the fierce heat of a tropical sun, and withered like grass, which dries up when once the scythe has laid it low. The psalmist's heart was as wilted, withered flower, a burned-up mass of what once was verdure. His energy, beauty, freshness, and joy were utterly gone through the wasting influence of his anguish. So that I forget to eat my bread, or because I forget to eat my bread. Grief often destroys the appetite, and the neglect of food tends further to injure the constitution and create a yet deeper sinking of spirit. As a smitten flower no longer drinks in the dew, or draws up nutrients from the soil, so a heart parched with intense grief often refuses consolation for itself and nourishment for the bodily frame, and descends at a doubly rapid rate into weakness, despondency, and dismay. The case here described is by no means rare. We have frequently met with individuals so disordered by sorrow that their memory has failed them, even upon such pressing matters as their meals. And we must confess that we have passed through the same condition ourselves. One sharp pang has filled the soul, monopolized the mind, and driven everything else into the background, so that such a common matters as eating and drinking have been utterly despised, and the appointed hours of refreshments have gone by unheeded, leaving no manifest faintness of body, but an increased weariness of the heart. And verse 5 that reads, "By reason of the voice of my groanings, my bones cleave to my skin." By reason of the voice of my groanings, my bones cleave to my skin. He became emaciated with sorrow. He had groaned himself down to a living skeleton, and so in his bodily appearance was the more like the smoke-dried, withered, burned-up things to which he had previously compared himself. It will be a very long time before the distresses of the Church of God make some Christians shrivel into anatomies. But this good man was so moved with sympathy for Zion's ills that he was wasted down to skin and bone. Yes, indeed, it can be horrific. Sometimes the trials and tribulations. Trust you enjoyed the meditation, the exposition as we looked at verse 3 to 5 of Psalms 102. Michael here declaring yet again, Jesus is Lord. Until next time, be